10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ninja vanish.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Hola,
And-
¿cómo estás? How's everybody doing today?
And JB, put some damn pants on. I'm sorry.
I mean, he stood up earlier, and we just got a full flash show with, Plastic Man hanging on for dear life. It was ridiculous. I mean,
Heaven help us all.
I know in your spare time you like to let the dong fly, but this is a live show. That's right. Scoot
talk about
carefully
going
by. Put your pants on.
They already told us like when he goes to get like a routine medical scan, he like strips down nude and like.
Yeah, like who's just like, oh, I'm here for the MRI. Let me get naked. Wait, what? No, that's not. No, we don't need. I don't need your ass in my face. Thank you. There are nudist colonies where you might feel more comfortable. I'm just saying.
Oh, I've heard about those. I didn't think they existed, but I got recommended a video once on YouTube of that.
I bet you did. I bet you did.
I'm serious. I
Did you recommend
Video recommendations usually is associated to stuff you've watched before.
Yeah, I know that, but sometimes YouTube will recommend you the stupidest stuff in the world. They will.
What's up, Hulk and Rumble and Boob Sweat? Ever so numb. We got Lead on Steel. We got Tomcat. We got Warhammer. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, how's everybody doing? How's everybody's weekend going?
That's all right. Start the morning out going to the hospital.
Oh, that's
Okay. Before we continue, I gotta say that Boob Sweat username's a pretty good username right there. Boob Sweat.
dude, that name is epic.
Yeah.
It's an epic name.
Boob Sweat. Yeah.
Boob Sweat leads to pearl necklaces? Come on. Everybody knows what that means.
It's a great name.
Come on.
Great name.
What's up, Gerald? Good times, ladies and gentlemen. Good times, ladies.
This is a great use of the Red Widow.
Oh, good.
A lady Deadpool. Very well done, sir. Good job. Well done, sir.
Just did some part swapping and I put together a Red Widow, which character I don't care about, put it back together.
Is that Lady Deadpool going in your personal collection?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Not in the way it would be in your personal collection, but yes.
Yeah. You can put mine under a black light and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Anyway, did y'all see the new trailer for the new Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley?
I have not.
Oh, dude, it's great. It's got all the nostalgia feels, dude. I can't wait to see this movie, especially after because like the last few movies that I've seen Eddie Murphy in, which hasn't been a lot, but he did that Coming to America, which I thought was great. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. It wasn't as good as the first one, but like what is? And then he did that a few years ago. He did that movie about Dolomite. You remember that one?
I don't remember that one. Oh, I do remember, but I never watched it.
Dude, that was fantastic. Like he should have won an Academy Award for that movie. Lately, Eddie Murphy, and he hasn't done a lot, but he's like making a comeback in like a good way and making smart choices. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very excited to see the new Beverly Hills Cop. The new trailer dropped. It looked great. I'm very excited about it. It looks cool. It looks funny. It's got it's got everybody in it that you would want to be in it. You know, that one dude, I'm blanking on his name, the older of the two cops that he hangs out with.
I thought he died.
I know, he's still alive. He's in the movie.
He wasn't in the third one, and then eventually I thought he passed away.
Yeah,
no offense to the actor, but
he's alive.
We haven't seen him.
And he's in this movie. So, yeah, No, it was great. It was great. I enjoyed it quite immensely. But anyway, yeah, it was it's a good trailer. It's a good trailer. And then they also dropped a trailer for the new season of Umbrella Academy, which I really like. Umbrella Academy. I like the comic. I was a fan of the comic. I haven't read all the comic. I think I read the
I thought that
first.
show was done.
No, it's not. They've been talking about doing the quote unquote final season for like 3 years, which was when the last season came out. And they finally dropped a trailer for season, is it 4 or 5? 4. This is 4. And I really liked the comic. I liked the show. The trailer for the new season looks good, except for fucking Vanya. Like, they screwed up that character so bad.
Yeah.
Because of the actor, whatever the fuck she is now. They had to go and screw that character up. I'm like, look, I get you want to do your thing, you want to live your life, whatever, but the character is more important than you. Okay?
Yep.
Sorry, the character is more important. So guess what?
They working her real life into the story in season 2. So it's like,
I know. And it's like, okay, well, it was season 3 when they did it. She was still a her in season 2, but
okay.
it was season 3 when they did the whole gender swap
Well,
thing. I'm like,
they made her in season 2. She hooked up with that lady in the past, though. That wasn't part of it.
Yeah, I mean, but that doesn't do anything with the character. Like, if she wants to be a fucking lesbian, that doesn't matter. Changing the character into a trans dude, that changes the character.
Oh yeah,
of Vanya, and like, just get another actress. I'm sorry if she, her is she, him, whatever it is offended, but she's like, there was a time when like studios would be like, okay, you're under contract and you ain't doing shit. You ain't cutting your hair. You ain't doing shit.
They weren't allowed to gain weight, male and female. They weren't allowed to like change their physiques to get pregnant or whatever, get out of shape. They had to work. Men had to keep their maintain a certain physique.
This chick comes in and cuts her tits off and completely changes who she is. And like, there's dude, that's it. Come on, man. Everything else is great. I really liked season 3. Everything except that was great. Everything, screwed up Vanya. But so I am looking forward to season 4. But I just hope that isn't too much of a. Just keep it out of the plot, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, just fucking leave it out of the plot. Leave it alone. Don't give her as much screen time as she had in the first couple seasons. Because
unfortunately, it's Netflix, so she's going to be the main character.
It's just fucking stupid. But we'll see. We'll see. That comes out, I think, this summer sometime. They dropped the trailer for that, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, overall I like the show. Regardless of her screw up on her character, I still think the show's really good. And I loved the comic. If anybody out there ever read the comic by Gerard Way, it was a great comic. I've got some of the paperbacks, the trades of it, and it's really good. And they did do a good job on the show. They did. They changed some stuff, but they do that with everything. When they make a show or a movie out of a comic book, but it was all done in a really good way that it made sense for the show. So I thought they did a good job, but anyway, they dropped that trailer this week. I don't know, a couple days ago or something like that. But I'm looking forward to it because I do like the show. I don't think there's anything else. It was a fairly slow entertainment week. You know what I mean? Like, there's no TV show out right now. X-Men 97's over. That was the big thing for a long time, was to talk about X-Men 97.
Well, me and the wife, we just got back from Comic-Con an hour ago, so we ain't been home that long.
Now, see, you gotta specify that. It's like Oklahoma Comic-Con or some shit. Like
Nashville. It was Nashville Comic-Con.
Nashville Comic-Con. So you say Comic-Con, a lot of people are like, what?
No, I know.
No, not that Comic-Con.
Yeah, Nashville Comic-Con. It went on till about 6 o'clock, so we just got back.
Although Nashville Comic-Con is pretty big.
Oh yeah, it was.
It's not San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con or anything like that, but it's a pretty big show. So
we went there. There was a pretty good amount of people. Line was backed up, and we had to wait outside for a while because it was pouring rain. So we had to wait outside for them to let us in finally.
yeah.
And that's the wife barging in on me.
You make sure you're not having your way with plastic, man.
I apologize to everybody watching. The wife's barging in on me again when I told her specifically.
Nobody would care, dude. Like, she's probably more entertaining than you. Have her come on the show.
Probably. Well, she won't get on her own time. Come on the show. But no, she got to meet what's her name? Catherine Sutherland, the Pink Ranger from Mighty Morphin. And I got
Sutherland?
Yeah.
I think she was the second Pink Ranger.
She was the second one to replace Amy Jo Johnson.
Okay, because I'm gonna say, like, there's only one Pink Ranger. Sorry.
Yeah.
And her name is Amy Jo Johnson.
And I got to meet
and every young man my age was like crushing hard on her when we were like 14 years old. Okay. Or yeah, but 93, I was 15 then. Never mind. 15, whatever. Doesn't matter. Same fucking thing.
And I got to meet.
It was like it was like at 15 years old, I wanted to bang the Pink Ranger and Kelly Kapowski. Like that was the two. I was like, yeah. So
I concur.
Yeah.
Then for me, I got to meet the best Lex Luthor, probably Michael himself.
Oh, Michael Rosenbaum was there? Oh, dude, I love that dude.
Yeah, I'm going to send you the pictures whenever we get done with the show. I'll send you the pics we took.
Oh, I've been a loyal fan of that dude for years and years and years.
Oh, yeah.
Joe, I've been a fan of his when he got into his Rosenbaum Productions, and he made like one of my favorite movies in like the last 20 years.
It's Flash too.
Yeah, they had almost half of the. They had Cal Michael. They had 3 more members of the Justice League voice acting cast. They had what's his name, George Newborn, the Superman. Marissa, what's her last name? Tomei, is that correct? Who does
Marissa Tomei?
No, it's Marissa. It's Marissa. She does.
I don't think it's Marissa Tomei. It's
no, her name's Marissa. I couldn't think of the last name, but she did it. They had basically they had Hawk Girl and they had Wonder Woman there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry I botched the last name. I apologize.
I'm like, I know who Marissa Tomei is, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't do any voice acting.
Then they had, let's see, who else they had? They had a couple of comic book artists. I wish I could have got the list because I have forgotten. I forgot a few of them.
I have to say though, in the voice acting community, Tara Strong's got the nicest set of tits.
Yeah, true. You're not wrong.
I mean, I've seen pictures of her, but
they're like the size of her head.
They had James Arnold Taylor, Obi-Wan. They had Matt, who does Anakin, and then they had the actors.
Lantern?
Yes, and they had the actors who did Padme for the Clone Wars. They had those 3. It was a pretty good batch this year. Like last year, they had a bunch of comic book artists, mainly last year, and probably the highlight of the entire one last year was seeing Chuck Norris. Like that was the highlight for me and the wife last year.
Well, I have shook Chuck Norris's hand before.
I know, so have I.
Yes, but I didn't have to pay to do it.
One does not shake Chuck Norris's hand; he shakes you.
Yeah,
I know.
He allowed me to touch his hand. That's what happened. No, I've told this story before, but I used to work in downtown Dallas back in the 90s, and they were shooting an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger in the lobby of our building. And it was just supposed to be like a murder scene. And, you know, Walker comes in and examines the murder scene or whatever. And it was just like a real quick scene. But after they were done shooting the scene, he stuck around and was like saying hello to everybody. Real fucking nice dude, man. Real nice dude. And I had gone down to have lunch because we had a little deli down in the lobby. That's where I would go down and get like lunch, grab a sandwich and some chips or something. And yeah, I got to meet Chuck Norris. So it was cool. Back in the 90s.
Sweet.
It was awesome. He was a nice dude. And he was just hanging around too. Like he didn't have to. They were done shooting the scene. Like, he was just hanging around and talking to people and shaking hands and stuff, and like just being a cool dude. So that was cool. Very nice of him. Anyway, all right, we do have a main topic tonight. It is in the title of the video, so we're gonna have a discussion about this because I have been talking about this show for years because it is a show I, along with many of us geeks, watched back in the day. But Jesus, going on 20 years ago now. When it started. And it's a show that has a very erratic history because it is a show that started off so glorious, and yet so many people agreed it went so far down so quickly and just never recovered from its downfall in its second season. I recently rewatched all 4 seasons of Heroes here in about the last 2 weeks or so. It took me about 2 weeks to watch 4 seasons. And everybody remembers this show mostly for the first season being just phenomenal, right? And then the next thing everybody remembers is season 2 being absolute dog shit. And then not really much after that. It did go on for seasons 3 and 4, but nobody really talks about those seasons because, to be honest, most of the audience left after the horrible season 2. And the fact that, honestly, that it got a season 4 is quite surprising because of the fact that season 3 had tanked so bad after the shit show that season 2 was. They had lost so many viewers in season 3. It's a wonder that it got a season 4 at all. And so a lot of people did not watch the whole show. I'm a geek. You're a geek. A lot of us in here are geeks. I'm sure we all watched the whole show. But I also haven't watched it since it was over, which was in like 2008 or maybe 2009. I want to say it was 2008. This was one for what, 2004 to 2008, I think. So most of us haven't watched it in a really, really long time, like 17 years. You know what I mean? Because of just the feelings we all had of how badly it went off the rails after that first season. So I was like, you know what? I haven't watched it in a really long time. I want to watch it. I don't remember, I remember more of the first season than I remember anything else. And I kind of wanted to just see, is it as bad or worse than I remember? So, of course, I'm watching it, and I watched the first season. And first season's fantastic. Of course. We all remember that first season of Heroes. It's fantastic. It's amazing. And then I get into season 2. And season 2 is just as bad as I remember. Of course, season 2, for those that don't remember why season 2 was so bad, was the writer's strike happened that year. And season 2, which was supposed to be this 23-episode season, got cut down to, I believe, 12 episodes. And it happened after at least the first 6 episodes had been written and filmed. And so they were trying to write and film another 6 episodes when that's all they had left, when they were supposed to have had 23 total. So they spent a lot of time, and honestly, they did this with the first season too, by the way. If you go back and watch the first season, the first half of the first season, not a lot is going on. It's just introducing characters, right? It's not till the second half of the first season that the characters start to meet up together, start to figure out what's going on, and stories start to wrap up. So they were following the same trajectory they were with the first season in the second season. They introduced a bunch of new characters along with all the old characters, tried to slowly set up this story that was going to be resolved in like 23 episodes. And writer's strike happens, and they get told, well, because you've only got 12 episodes written, you only get 12 episodes. So you better wrap this season up in the next 6 because you've already filmed 6. And it's just awful. It's awful because it was already written. It was written basically those first 12 episodes to just introduce a bunch of storylines and not really resolve anything. And there really wasn't a lot of changes they could make at that point. They tried to make some changes in those 12 episodes to try and get it to feel like a full season, but it just didn't. And it just introduced a bunch of characters that by season 3 we never see again. A bunch of new characters with new powers that we never see again. Some characters just disappear. Some characters that were supposed to be from the first season and get reintroduced in the second half of season 2 never got introduced because there was no second half of season 2. And it was just a really, really bad season of television, that not just for a show that had done so well in the first season, but for any show, it was crap. It was just absolute dog crap. It was just, and it wasn't their fault, but it happened. And it's just as bad as you remember. Then you get to season 3. And here's what I'm expecting going into season 3. Is my memory of season 3 and 4 were, man, everything went off the rails at season 2 and the show just never got better. God damn, was I wrong, because season 3 is better than season 1. And that is a bold statement to make. But it's fucking true. And that season 3 specifically is why I called this podcast here tonight. Why I called this podcast Heroes, the best X-Men show you think sucks. Because there is no better example of what an X-Men TV show could and should be than season 3 of Heroes. It's goddamn fantastic. Yet by this point, nobody was watching the show anymore. You want to talk about a show that hits on all the great, morality points that X-Men did about a world with people with powers, and not only what those people might do, but what governments in the world might do to those people. All the great things that were introduced in X-Men over the course of several decades all comes to life in season 3 of Heroes in a fantastic way. I did not remember how good Heroes season 3 was.
I can't remember anything about it. I watched it all, but I haven't. It was 17 years since I watched it.
It was fantastic. I was so surprised how good season 3 was. Now, that being said, I got into season 4, and season 4 is not as good. It's not as good as season 1 and 2, but it's fuck tons better than season 2, or excuse me, than season 1s and 3, but way better than season 2. Overall, this is still a really good show if you can get through the 12 episodes of season 2 that don't go anywhere because of the writer's strike. This is a show worth picking up and watching again, especially in an age when you got a lot of people who just really enjoyed X-Men 97. And, people are looking forward to seeing, Deadpool and Wolverine and all this stuff. This is a show worth rewatching. And I put off rewatching it for a really long time because all I could remember was how bad it got after season 1. And while it does for a few episodes, it does not stay that way. And so I'm putting out the public recommendation that you should watch Heroes again. You absolutely should. It's still really good. And I highly, highly recommend it. Spiel over with. That's my pitch. That's my pitch to the audience. Is go watch Heroes again.
Okay. That's our show, folks.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say
I was surprised. I only watched it because, honestly, I was in what I like to call a show hole. I didn't really have anything to watch. There's nothing on TV right now. I was like, I need a show to watch. You know what I mean? And I like putting on old TV shows and stuff. And I was like, I need something to watch. You know what? I haven't watched Heroes in a while. I've never watched it other than the one time. Let me watch it. And I was very, very pleasantly surprised. Like I said, season 2 is still dog shit. There's no doubt about that. It's bad. It's really bad. But fortunately, it's short. It goes away quickly, and it comes back way, way better. And look, I mean, the similarities are obvious, and I think it was obvious from the very beginning. I don't think there was any like. I don't think anybody who was a comic book fan ever watched Heroes and thought, I wonder if they know they're ripping off X-Men. Of course they did. They're totally ripping off X-Men. The whole show rips off X-Men. Okay? Like, it totally does. Every aspect of the show rips off X-Men in one way, shape, or form. However, it's done really, really well. Like, it's a good X-Men ripoff.
You know, thinking about it, All for One from My Hero Academia, his powers is kind of like what was his dad is the one that could take powers away from people, isn't it?
Yeah, his dad can take powers away from everybody. It's him and his dad and Sylar who all have very similar powers. His dad takes powers away from people, and then he has them and they don't. Peter's kind of weird because I just watched it, and even I wasn't real clear on what happened with Peter's powers, because at first he can, just by being close to somebody, he can absorb their powers, and then he can just have an endless amount of powers. But then his dad takes his powers away, but then an eclipse happens again that gives him his powers back. But when his powers come back, then he can only have one power at a time when his powers come back. But he can take anybody's power. But when he takes somebody's power, they don't lose it like when his dad does.
Yeah. That's why, like, makes me the fan of, I mean, not fan, the creator of My Hero Academia is a fan of Western comics.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me wonder if his dad was the inspiration for All for One.
Might be. I mean, I don't know anything about My Hero Academia, but I mean, it could be. So, and then Sylar, who, by the way, best character on the show through all 4 seasons. Sylar is by far the best character on the show. Sylar essentially, it's his power. Like, it starts off his power. You think his power is that he can look at somebody who has powers, study them, see what's different about them, cut their head off, and somehow take their power and absorb it into himself. And what you find out later is that's not really his power. He essentially has the same power as Peter does. It's just he's psychotic and he likes to cut people's heads off. Because later on in the show, he says, he's like, I never needed to cut people's heads open. I just enjoyed it. And he takes people's power the same way Peter does, just by touching him. So, and I don't know if that was intentional from the beginning or they just decided to change it, because that's you find that out in season 3. That he can take people's powers without actually like fucking doing anything to them if he wants to. Either way, I don't know, but he's by far the best character on the show. Second best character on the show is Noah Bennett, horn-rimmed glasses.
Yep.
He's by far the second best character on him and Sylar, 2 best characters on the show. They're when they're the focus of any particular story, it's usually the best stories in any of those episodes. Because they're both, and even though they both, and like Sylar has like a couple of quote unquote redemption story arcs. Like he's bad, then he's kind of good, then he goes back to being bad again, then he becomes like actually good, like right towards the end. And then Noah Bennett starts off, you just think he's the bad guy, and then as the series progresses, you find out he's not a bad guy at all. Like, he never was a bad guy. He was doing what he thought was right, and as he realized hurting people with powers was wrong, he started using all his experience working for this secret organization to actually help them and protect them. And really, really well done. And look, all the characters, except for the new ones they introduced in season 2 that get no time to actually develop into good characters, all the characters are done well. I would say the character I like the least, honestly, though, is what's her name? The chick who has 2 personalities in season 1. I'm forgetting her name. She's got 2 personalities.
It's been, like I said, 17 years since I watched it. So
yeah. Well, I forget what the actress's name is. It's the actress from Final Destination, and she was actually in the whole show, but she's probably the least interesting character. Thank you, Ledley's Anarchy. Nikki is her real name, and then her other personality has a second name. I don't remember what the hell it is. Jessica. Nikki and Jessica. And Jessica's the evil one who's super strong and has powers, and then Nikki is just like normal. Her character's not very interesting at all. Her character gets more interesting when in season 3, after they've killed her off, they introduce her twin, who is her biological twin, who was raised. Thank you, Ledley's. Allie Larder is the actress's name. They introduce another character called Tracy, who it's just her playing a different character who has completely different powers. She's more interesting as that character than she is as Nikki and Jessica. But good show. Highly recommend. 2 thumbs up. Worth a rewatch. Go back and enjoy what I feel like is probably the best non-animated X-Men thing, that we've ever gotten on TV. Not that we've gotten a lot. We did get, what was that one show that we got here about 10 years ago? What was the name of it? We got that one show. It was an X-Men show on Fox. I want to say it was early to mid 2010s. Oh my God, what was the name of that show? Somebody out there in the chat knows what I'm talking about. We got an actual legitimate X-Men show, live action show on television.
I remember I never watched it, but I remember seeing advertisements for it.
It only got 2 seasons.
FX, and then they had like Legion for a little while too.
Legion was fantastic. I really, really, really liked Legion. I thought Legion was a phenomenal show. It only lasted 3 seasons, but it was a good it was a good take on the character, which was, it's kind of hard to say it's different from the comics because we never really got into a lot about Legion. So with this show, they were able to kind of just do whatever the hell they wanted. You know what I mean? So it was cool because I liked seeing that different take on Legion from what I knew of him in the comic books, which was not much. Even right before, even leading into like Age of Apocalypse and all that stuff, you don't really know a lot about David Haller. He grew up in a mental home and he was crazy and all that kind of stuff, but they don't really delve into much about him outside of when Professor X just, finds him again.
He was like Omega level before they started letting everybody's Omega level.
They said they said the title was The Gifted. It came out in 2017.
There you go. Gifted. Yes. That show. That was actually a pretty good show. It's not as good as it's not as good as Heroes, but The Gifted was actually a good show. I did watch it, and it does have a lot of characters in it that, it's got Sunspot and I'm trying to remember who all were the characters in there. Sunspot was in there. The Cuckoos were in there. I think who was it? A lot of people made cameos. I know Eclipse was in there. I think Fade was in there. Who else? What's her face? Magneto's daughter. What's her name?
Polaris.
Polaris was in there. She was, I think, one of the main characters, and Thunderbird was in there. Of course, they didn't call them by any of their names. Blink was in there, and she actually, I think, was called Blink. I think they called her Blink. But everybody else was just went by their real names. They didn't go by their X-Men names or whatever. But it was actually a pretty good show. It was, I get why it got canceled. It wasn't fantastic, but it was decent. It got a good couple seasons. So I like it.
I think it lasted though up like to like the acquisition, acquisition, didn't it?
It was what 20. When did it? Oh, well, Ledley said it was 2017, so it got 2 seasons. So 2017 to 2019. When did Fox get bought out?
Shit,
Was it around 2019, 2020-ish, something like
Somewhere
that?
in there.
I feel like it was right around the start of COVID. Was when Fox got bought out. So yeah, probably that sounds about right. But
It was because we said that the X-Men movie was talking about the New Mutants was what the last X-Men movie they did before Fox got bought out. So that would have been early to mid to late 2020, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
My wife went
like I said before, I thought that was a really good movie.
I did too.
It was a good enough movie that I was like, damn, that sucks that now we're not going to get anything else. I would like to see.
And that was a good casting for that weird chick from Furiosa.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy, whatever. Yeah, she was great as Magic.
And
Yeah, I thought she did a great. It's probably the best thing I've ever seen her do. What's that? It was a really good show. I liked that they made it dark and like a fucking horror movie. That was great. That was the perfect tone for that story, for that Demon Bear story. So, there's been a lot of good X-Men stuff. I need to start. Me and my wife are going to start rewatching all the X-Men stuff because of Deadpool and Wolverine, and we've been told there's gonna be tons of cameos and all that stuff. So me and my wife, I think, are gonna start watching maybe a couple movies on the weekend, a couple X-Men movies, and kind of go through all of them, all the X-Men movies, Wolverine movies, Deadpool movies, all that stuff. Try and do some catching up.
That's actually what me and the wife were planning before we went and seen it too, was watch all the X-Men films and Wolverine Deadpool stuff.
Yeah. Just kind of catch up, watch the movies. I haven't seen a lot of these movies in a long time. I mean, the ones I have seen the most are the Deadpool movies, at least recently in the last few years. The Deadpool movies I love rewatching, and then I love rewatching Logan. And so in the last few years, I've seen those movies a bunch.
Logan is great, but I think Wolverine's underrated. The Wolverine?
Well, the Wolverine is underrated, yes.
Yeah.
It's not anywhere near as good as Logan, though.
No.
But it is underrated. Yes. I think after X-Men Origins Wolverine, a lot of people just like tuned out on the idea of a Wolverine movie because that.
Yeah.
Although I will say, I would still rather watch X-Men Origins Wolverine than X-Men Last Stand because that movie's fucking awful.
Yep.
X-Men Last Stand is, I think, the worst X-Men movie.
Well,
out of like, it's worse than X-Men Apocalypse. It's worse than X-Men Dark Phoenix. It's worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine. It is awful.
No doubt, that's a horrible movie.
Are you saying it's worse because they kill Cyclops, Professor Xavier, and Jean Grey in the movie?
Yeah, they just kill everybody
I
for no reason.
They were petty reason why they killed Cyclops off because he agreed to do a Warner Brothers movie.
Again, it gets to that whole. It gets to the like. These actors are not more important than the characters, and that's something Hollywood really needs to learn. It is something that some franchises have learned. Doctor Who learned this a long time ago. James Bond learned this a long time ago. Okay. DC has learned this with Superman and Batman, that these characters are more important than the lead actors.
Mm-hmm.
However, a lot of these movie studios and stuff, I was just talking about this with Quinn earlier today because I went by Quinn's shop and we were talking about like Star Wars movies and Indiana Jones movies. It's just like, they should have replaced Harrison Ford a long time ago. They should have replaced all the Star Wars cast a long time ago. The sequel movies never should have been what they were. The sequel movies should have done what Legends did back in the 90s, which was start doing movies about 5 years after Return of the Jedi and just get new actors to play the roles. Yep. Because none of those actors, even Harrison Ford, is more important than those characters. None of them are.
Well, there's an issue with that these days too. Is people they simplified the actors with the characters because it's their face and image that they recognize more than the character. At least a lot of average people, not geeks like us, but average people do.
But I don't think that's true because stuff like James Bond completely disproves that.
I know it, but I'm like at least
and Batman movies are always a big hit. That disproves that. You know what I mean? I think it's because I think honestly is because they're like, oh, we need that nostalgia factor. Let's get those actors back.
Like,
so let's sacrifice an entire story instead of just writing a better story.
That's the most thing about Star Wars because I've seen a lot of people say, oh, Mark Hamill's the only Luke Skywalker, Harrison Ford's the only Han Solo.
Yeah.
Which back then, yes, they were perfectly cast, no doubt about it. But you're right. When it is time, you can recast. Hey, they can even do deep fakes these days. If you want a young Mark Hamill, do what they're trying to do, but perfect the technology first before you do deep fakes.
Yeah, I don't even think you need to do deep fakes. I think just getting new actors.
No, they can recast them though. The actor that plays Bucky, what's his name, is perfect casting for replacing Mark Hamill.
I agree.
Sebastian Stan.
Yes, I have seen people make fan images, edits of him as Luke Skywalker, and they are phenomenal.
They're going to, but the problem is they're dicking around. He's going to be too old to do it for too long.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's you know, and whatever.
Well, they're trigger shy too with recasting when they did the Solo movie.
Mm-hmm.
What? I'm sorry, the guy to play Han Solo
was awful.
Awful casting. He's not saying he's a horrible actor, but there's an actor who's played a young Harrison Ford who actually tried out for the role. They only picked this actor because the director recommended another director recommended him because bullshit. When you could have got somebody who looked like freaking Harrison Ford.
I mean, there are lookalikes these days where there are people. Have you ever seen the NBA?
Well, this kid's an established actor, and he could have played the role.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying, you ever see those NBA games where they just look around and put people on camera who look like celebrities or at least close to them? They could have just found somebody who looks close to Harrison Ford. Not exactly, but close to it.
And my thing is, I don't give a shit if it looks exactly like him.
No.
Can you give me the Harrison Ford, or the not even the Harrison Ford, sorry.
I think the voice is more important than the
Han Solo vibe. I don't care if you look anything like Harrison Ford.
True.
Can you be Han Solo?
It's not about look.
I don't think the guy could actually had the Han Solo vibe.
He didn't have that charisma and that aura like Harrison Ford brought to Han Solo.
No.
He was a bit of a dork.
And look, I don't hate that movie. It's arguably not a great movie, but it's got some entertaining stuff in it. And I thought the dude did as well as possible for what they had set up. However, they could have done so much better.
Yeah. Because what I was going to say is there are people in Geeks who put these actors who play these characters for so long on a pedestal that's like nobody can ever replace them. Look at Robert Downey Jr., for example, or Chris Evans. They nailed those roles perfectly where people are saying, oh, nobody else can play them but Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. Not true. There are actors who can do it, who can play young versions of those characters and bring them back. They can.
And they're going to have to do that when they reset the Marvel Universe.
Yes.
After Secret Wars. They're going to have to do it, and people are going to have to get used to it. And tough shit. Get some good actors to come in there and play it. It can happen. It will happen.
It can't just be an actor. It's also the writing team. If the writing is bad, an actor can only do so much with it.
Yeah.
Like even I've seen films where even the best actors who have won Oscars cannot save a film.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. You can have a brilliant actor, but the script would be so bad. Was that shit movie that's on Rebel Moon?
Oh yeah.
I was also thinking there have been a couple movies Sean Connery has been in, and they have not been.
Who? Sean Connery?
Conroy. I'm not familiar.
Did you say Sean Connery?
Conroy.
Sean Conroy. Sean Conroy?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with his work. What's he been in?
What's Sean Conroy been in? Who's Sean Conroy? I'm not familiar with this actor, Sean Conroy.
I'm trying. Okay.
Now you know you fucked up. Now you
know. I was trying to think. Sean Connery, thank you. I've been mispronounced. Like I said, we just got back not too long ago from Nashville Comic Con. I'm exhausted, so it's been a long day.
Sean Connery probably passed away before he was born, Matt. So
that's probably true.
I've seen movies he was in. Like I saw his James Bond films. I saw Highlander.
Conroy?
Sean Conroy. He was the 13th James Bond.
Yeah, I saw his James Bond films. I saw Highlander 1 and 2. So that's what I was thinking of.
Which version of Highlander 2? There's like 5.
Yeah.
The one that he's in with the one who plays Raiden in the live action Mortal Kombat film is who I'm thinking of, the first one.
Christopher Lambert?
Yes.
But I just said there's like 5 versions of the second movie.
I've only seen the first and second one. Is the only ones I've seen.
That's what I'm saying. The second movie, there's like 3 or 4 different cuts.
3 versions, I think. I think there's 3 versions
of the movie.
Yeah. I have the one on VHS. I have the one.
It's not telling us which version it is.
Theatrical.
Let me ask you this. Does it turn out that the Highlanders are aliens or from the past?
Aliens.
Okay.
I think that's
the theatrical cut.
Yeah, the theatrical cut. I'm sorry. That's what I forgot. There was multiple cuts of that film. I'm sorry. But yeah, theatrical is what I've got. So
we're giving you shit, but it's okay. Because that movie was made before you were born, so
I know. Like I said, I've been trying to watch some old 80s movies. Been trying to catch up on that. So I'm just tired. I should have got a coffee before I came on. Oh, are you still filling with that Millennium Falcon, Matt?
Oh, hell yeah, I am. I got the turrets on and everything.
Just okay.
Got the turrets on the sides.
It looks beautiful, man. Looks beautiful.
So yeah, I've been messing with this thing. It's just, you got to do a little bit and let it dry, and I got to do some sanding and stuff. And anyway,
we got a super chat.
We got a super chat from Totally the ATF says, just like J-Lo couldn't save Catwoman. What the fuck? What?
I think
J-Lo wasn't in Catwoman.
Could he?
What are you talking about?
I think he's meaning Halle Berry. Is who he's talking about. Halle Berry.
Yeah, Halle Berry can't save shit. She's an awful actress.
She is. The only thing good about her is her tits.
I mean, she's hot. Don't get me wrong, but that's it. That's all she has going.
You know what happens when a toad gets hit by lightning?
The same thing that happens.
To everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for telling me that. Stupid fucking line. Now, granted, that line is not her fault. She did not write that line.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help when she delivers it.
It's terrible. Jeez.
So.
Then again, there's such thing as good cheese and bad cheese.
True.
Mm-hmm.
But.
Oh, me.
Boop Sweat in the chat says, are the greebles for the Falcon? Yes, I've got greebles all over the Falcon. I've been doing a bunch of stuff. I've got, this is what I got so far. Now, do keep in mind, it's like, this is going to be all painted, and I've got to do some sanding and stuff. And there's pieces that I don't have on here yet, but these are lots of extra greebles that I have added to the Falcon. So anything you see on here that's black, like the cannons on the sides, and then all the extra, I've got extra vents, exhaust vents, and power relays, and all kinds of stuff that I've added to it. The front piece there is for shield generator. So, yeah. My idea for this was, what if, like, a mercenary got a hold of a YT-1300 freighter, and instead of doing what Han Solo did, which was put every last bit of effort into this thing to make it faster. What if this dude wanted to make it better offensively and defensively? Didn't mess with the engines really. He put everything, he pimped it out to be more of a hit and run type of shit that could like go in, deal a lot of damage, and take a lot of hits, and then get out. Like, he didn't spend all the time and effort like Han Solo did just upgrading the engines, because that's basically all Han Solo did to his ship. I mean, like the Millennium Falcon was just really, really fucking fast. Like, that's really all the Millennium Falcon was. Other than that, it was a pretty standard YT 1300 freighter. So my idea was to go a little different. So
I actually seen this question today on social media. It was, what are your thoughts on, do you like Spaceballs? Yes or no? Was it
hell yes?
Just like, give your thoughts.
So what you're saying, you're turning basically like into a Star Wars version of the Killdozer.
I mean, yeah.
That was just a question. I always get those on Twitter and stuff all the time. Like, oh, this question about like what film, what actor do you know this film from except this one? Like, there was one about Willem Dafoe. Like, name a film he's been in that's not Green Goblin and stuff. It's like, okay, I named some films.
He was in Moondog Saints.
Yeah. Oh, Boob Sweat's got a comment. Halle Berry's best move was The Last Boy Scout. Yes, it was. It is one of my top 10 favorite films.
I didn't remember she was in that movie.
Oh,
she's in The Last Boy Scout?
Yeah, she played a stripper.
Okay.
Yeah, she played a dancer in that film.
Didn't even remember she was in that fucking movie.
There for like maybe 10 minutes, and then she died.
I remember like Jenica and what's it? No, it wasn't her. There's the chick that played Tila in the live action He-Man movie.
Yes.
Played Bruce Willis's wife.
She played the one. She plays the one who bangs his partner. And I always like that scene from Bruce Willis, how he's like, you know, who's the guy in the closet? Because she forgot he's a detective. And then he points the gun at him in the closet. He's like, I'm going to shoot you. Bruce Willis is great in that movie.
Yeah. Oh, AUTF says, totally AUTF says, Catwoman was so terrible I blocked most of it out of my mind because it traumatized me. I understand that completely. I do.
I have still yet to ever watch that movie because I heard it was so bad.
The fact that you thought J-Lo was in it, I mean, you've certainly blocked a lot out. So
yeah,
good for you. I wish I could forget that fucking movie.
I haven't seen it, so it's completely blocked from my mind.
I've only ever seen it one time, and I don't recommend it. Don't even do that. Like, unless you just, I mean, if you're into like S&M and self-torture, then sure, why not?
The problem was, if you're going to do a proper Catwoman movie, you got to do like Michelle Pfeiffer did for her Catwoman.
What's hilarious is if that movie was made today, it would be more along the lines of what Sharon Stone wanted. She wanted the movie to be more gay. She said it would have been. She said it would have done better if they let them have like her and Halle Berry had a lesbian kiss.
Well, and the funny thing about it is, like, since you brought up the Michelle Pfeiffer one, that wasn't even Catwoman, by the way. Like, that character was called Catwoman and wore a cat suit, but there was nothing like Catwoman in the comics, like at all.
Tim Burton's Catwoman. All. She had superpowers.
Yeah,
she
had superpowers.
She was a crow.
She wasn't a cat burglar. She wasn't a thief. She was just, she was insane because cats licked her when she fell out a window, and that gave her superpowers somehow. I don't know.
She's basically the Crow, but a cat lady.
Yes, she's the cat.
Well, do you prefer that, or do you prefer, I get my cat abilities from an Egyptian god or something?
I don't prefer either. I mean, Catwoman.
She's not supposed to have powers.
I know she's not supposed to have powers, but if
even back then, it's like people were bitching, even though we like the Tim Burton movies, but everybody's like, Why does Catwoman have powers?
I never even realized she had powers. I thought those cats just licked her to the point where she was insane, but I didn't know she had powers, to be honest.
Oh, she died. She died, and they brought her back to life.
Died, and the cat licking
They took the
brought
cat
her back to life somehow.
Well, no, they took
I'm just saying, if you ever see a woman die in front of you, just remember, start licking her. I'm sure nobody will think there's anything wrong with that at all. It'll bring her back to life.
But keep your pants on, JB.
Yes, keep your pants on, or they might get the wrong idea of why you're licking her.
She died, but then when she comes back, they give her the whole, oh, she's got 9 lives.
Yeah.
So, and then I remember at the end, though, when she's getting shot, she's counting down, like singing off her lives as they're going away. So I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Totally ATF says Catwoman has never been portrayed well. I would argue the only time I've seen Catwoman portrayed well, and I think it was in the Batman. I thought, while she didn't look like anything like the Catwoman I know, I thought Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman in the Batman was pretty spot on from the comics. I thought she did a pretty damn good job. I thought that characterization, even though she looks nothing like Selena Kyle, I thought the story and the dialogue and everything fit perfectly with Selena Kyle. I thought that was pretty damn good. What's her faces from Dark Knight Returns or whatever that was awful. I hate that actress. I hate what's her face. What's her name?
Anna Hathaway, Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, Anne Hathaway. I fucking hate her.
Did you say Anna?
Yeah, whatever her fuck her name is.
Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway is I don't like her as an actress. I find her incredibly annoying. And I thought she was an awful Catwoman. Not as bad as Halle Berry, however, but still not good. And then Michelle Pfeiffer wasn't even Catwoman. She was, as Jared pointed out, the Crow. But I thought Zoe Kravitz in the Batman, that was a good representation of Selena Kyle. I thought she did a really good job. So she just wasn't a busty blonde like we're used to seeing in the comics. So, I guess blonde doesn't really matter, but sometimes she has black hair, sometimes she has blonde hair. I mean, just whatever. But
almost every representation of Catwoman has always been, Selena's blonde. Almost every.
The blonde thing didn't really start until like the late 80s or 90s, to be honest. Like she had black hair for a really, really long time in the comics.
In Arkham she had black hair too. I forgot about that.
And then in the 2000s they started drawing her with black hair again.
Yeah.
So anyway, it just depends.
I guess it depends on like a director's preference of do they want her to be a black hair or have blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but in '66 series, she was depicted by 3 different actresses.
Yep.
Oh, I know. I remember 3
and
different
one lady was black.
Oh yeah,
yep.
I remember that. I seen that.
And they never explained any of that.
No,
they just never explained in that series.
Because what was it? They couldn't get the original actress for the movie, so they hired somebody else. They hired what's her name? I'm blanking on it right now. Her name, the one that played Catwoman in the movie. Oh, what's her name? I can't think of it. But didn't they bring her in to play Catwoman in the movie because they couldn't get the original actress from the series? If I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You guys know this stuff. Y'all are smarter than
what? Wait, on what?
He's talking about the '66 series.
The '66 Batman series.
When they did the movie.
When they did the Batman and Robin movie.
I'll be honest. Like the movie and the TV show get so mixed up in my head. I don't remember who was Catwoman in the movie versus who was Catwoman in the show. There was 2 actresses there was one that played her in the movie, and then 2 that played her in the show. And I honestly don't remember which was which. I know it was Julie Newmar, Eartha Kitt, and who was the third one? That played Catwoman.
Julie Newmar was the one that played Catwoman in the movie, is who I'm thinking of. You just said the name. And then the other one was the one that played originally Catwoman in the series before she got replaced. So you just said both. You said You said both the names right there of the two I'm thinking of, but I cannot remember the third Catwoman's name.
I can't remember. But no, Julie Newmar did play Catwoman in the show too. If she was the one from the movie, then she must have been the first one to play her on the show.
I can't remember. I can't fully remember.
And there was a third one that I don't remember her name.
How many seasons did 66 have?
The Catwoman was played by 3 actresses.
Yeah.
So
might have to Google it then.
And I don't remember who the third actress is now. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. I don't fucking remember. So anyway,
totally
all I know is they never explained why all of a sudden Catwoman was black. Just
Toy Game's got a good comment here. What's worse, Barry Catwoman or Dolph Lundgren Punisher?
Oh, Barry Catwoman by far.
I like
I love that Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie. The only thing I don't like about it is he never puts on the skull shirt.
Yep.
That's the only thing I don't like about that. I like that movie. I still watch that movie.
Well, they make it
Louis Gossett Jr. kicking ass and taking names while he lives in the sewers.
Mm-hmm. They also make it. Oh, he's got his skull, but it's at the end of his knife.
Yeah. I still think like he was actually a really good choice to play Punisher at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just think because they were because at the time comic book movies were not really something people wanted to advertise. So they didn't have him wearing the costume and all the stuff and whatever else. And I get it, but I wish they would at least given him like they did Thomas Jane. At least they had him half the time wearing just like that T-shirt. Remember his son gives him a T-shirt with a skull on it. And so after his family dies, like he puts that T-shirt on, like just in honor of his son. Like I which by the way, I still love that fucking movie. I watch that movie at least once a year.
Dirty Laundry, that little short film is so good.
Jane, yes.
Yeah.
With Ron Perlman.
Thank you. So Arg Yale. How the fuck do you say your name, by the way, dude? Arg. Lee Merriweather was the third Catwoman in Batman 60. Yes, Lee Merriweather. Yes. That's her name. That's who it was. I forgot. So, but by the way, Lee Merriweather was the best looking Catwoman in that show.
Mm-hmm.
She was better looking than Eartha Kitt or Julie Newmar.
Yeah. Toy Game, right. That scene with Kevin Nash was good in the 2004 Punisher movie.
Kevin Nash actually got stabbed in that scene. He just carried on.
He got stabbed and he brushed it off like it was nothing, which amazed me.
He finished the scene. Everybody didn't know he was stabbed.
That shot of adrenaline will do things to you.
Yeah.
Well, wrestlers are so full of like painkillers.
By the way, that is a fucking fantastic scene.
Yes.
That also they blade as well. They cut themselves open on a regular basis, so
they're used to pain.
Oh, I know.
Oh, Argyle. That's how you say it. Argyle.
Okay.
Argyle. That makes sense now that I look at it and you have said that. That makes perfect sense. Argyle.
And also what was nice is Thomas Jane actually went through the wall on his own, which was very cool to see him do. Because we know a lot of actors love to sit in the chair and let the stunt doubles do all the work.
Yeah.
Which I get it. Because if an actor gets hurt, they have to delay production for however many months it takes for them to recover. If a stunt double gets hurt, well, we can always hire a new one right now to take over.
Oh, just get another dude to replace the guy. We just heard on.
Yeah. I mean, Hollywood will do that. I mean, they did that in The Fall Guy. So I watched that. So
I died for living in the movies and TV.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Fall Guy song, I love that song.
Yeah. Which
anyway.
If you've not seen it, you need to do it upon yourselves to either go to theaters and see it or rent it on digital. Or
just watch it for free. I mean,
how do you watch it for free, by the way? I didn't know this.
The website.
The website. You have not heard us. We talk about this website all the time.
Y'all talk about too much. It's hard for me to keep track.
There's a website. I have not had cable or paid for any streaming services for years because of this website.
Send me a link to it. I'd love to check it out later. Probably find myself something good to watch on there.
Can't post it in YouTube, but everybody in the chat should know by now what it is because I have talked about it ad nauseum. My only recommendation, by the way, is make sure that you download the browser called LibreWolf.
Mm-hmm.
I will drop the link to that in there in the chat for anybody who wants that. Let me I'll drop the link to that. Download this browser. This is a browser that was built on top of Mozilla Firefox. Okay. It was from Mozilla Firefox. So and it blocks your IP. It blocks all viruses. It blocks all pop-ups, ads, all that stuff. This is a great browser. Download it on your computer. I've been using this browser for about 1.5 years now. Fantastic. I love it. And then watch the website that I'm going to send you here. I'm going to put it in the private chat because I can't post it publicly.
Okay. I would say just send it to me on Messenger.
You can't. Messenger blocks it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to put it in the private chat here. And that website right there, I've been using since 2017. It does occasionally, maybe once or twice a year, change. They change their URL because they get banned.
All right, I got it.
So, and I can also send it to you. I can send it to you on Discord too.
Okay.
Let me send it to you on Discord. But download LibreWolf, people. I put the link out there. LibreWolf is a fantastic browser for your computer, and it blocks everything automatically. It was a browser that was created specifically for people who like to use the internet anonymously, not get pop-ups, not get ads, not have their IP address out there, all that kind of stuff. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost anything. Download it. It's based on the Mozilla Firefox architecture. So it runs essentially like Mozilla Firefox does. Highly recommend that you use that browser at least specifically for F movies, because the way F movies is a website that exists is because there are tons of pop-ups and ads. Okay. But if you watch it on that browser, you don't get any of that, which is how I watch it. But the website is called F Movies. They do change their URL all the time. I think right now, because they just changed it over a couple days ago, it's called F, the letter F, the word movies, 24.to. For anybody that wants to, I can't post it in the chat because YouTube will gank it, but I can say it, fmovies24.to. Only though, unless you want to get pop-ups and shit, because that website will pop up shit every time you click on something. But I would recommend only using it on the LibreWolf browser. Or if you have a tablet, LibreWolf has an app. It's not called LibreWolf. It's called Brave. It's Brave browser. You can download it. So if you've got a tablet or something that's like a Chrome book or something like that, or I use Brave on my phone.
They got Brave for the desktop too.
Yeah, you can get Brave for the desktop. It's the same company that did LibreWolf does Brave. So they're essentially the same thing, but I use LibreWolf on my computer and I use Brave on any tablets or phones. And they block all kinds of shit. So
here's a good
F Movies is a great website. Highly recommend it. Like I said, I ain't paid for cable since 2017. I ain't paid for streaming services in years because I watch everything there.
Other than what comes with like Walmart.com.
Yeah, I got that. Well, I've got Amazon because of shipping, but
Brian Miller just asked, does it block YouTube ads as well?
I don't know. I've never tried watching.
I use Firefox and AdBlock Plus, then go to the Easy List, install the Easy List block list.
Let's see. Let's click on.
I don't have any ads.
Okay, let me click on a trending video that's
crap.
I mean, I'm clicking on all the trending videos.
In this video, I'm going to test over 50.
And none of them have ads at the beginning.
So it works. Okay.
So, yeah, none of the trending videos on YouTube's front page, if I go in through LibreWolf, have ads on them, which, of course, all the trending videos would have ads on them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, that means it's blocking ads on YouTube. Yes. So, but yes, great browser. And the movie, the F Movies website, fantastic website. Highly, highly, highly recommend that website. Me and my wife watch everything there. So
I have a question for y'all. I probably answer this myself. What movies would you consider guilty pleasures? Like, it's bad, but it's good. I know we mentioned Spaceballs and other stuff.
Well, Spaceballs is not a bad movie, though.
I know.
Movie. Bad movies. Like, objectively, they're bad, but I like them anyway.
Yes, movies like that.
I would have to think about it for a while because there's a lot of movies I like that I know some people think are bad, but I don't think they're bad movies. Like, for instance, a movie that I don't know why it gets so much shit because not only do I love it, but I don't think it's a bad movie. But some people are like, "Oh, that's a bad movie." I love fucking Battleship.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Battleship. I will fight tooth and nail that fucking Battleship is not a bad movie. Like, some people are like, "Oh, you only like it because you like bad movies." No, it's not a bad movie, dude. Like, it's a really good fucking movie. And it's fun, and it's got action, and it's fuck that. And it's got an AC/DC soundtrack. Suck my dick, motherfucker. That movie's great. Battleship's awesome. I fucking love that movie. Although Argyle's got one, Roadhouse. Arguably, Roadhouse was not a good movie.
No, it's a terrible movie, but it's fun to watch.
But that is actually that's a good guilty pleasure movie. A lot of the 80s stuff, though, was, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that arguably a lot of the action movies in the 80s were bad fucking movies. They're great.
I could probably think of a few Arnold movies that people say is bad, but they're bad in their own ways. Like Terminator 3, Salvation, Genesis.
Terminator 3 is absolute dog shit. I fucking hate that movie.
That movie's terrible.
It's bad. It is
Terminator
bad.
you want to know Terminator
Salvation
is a phenomenal movie that should the whole so that movie I'm gonna go over. I've talked about this theory before on my channel, but the Terminator Salvation is what Terminator should have evolved into, because Terminator 3, while it sucked and was awful, at least it continued the story from the first two movies, so I got to give it at least a little bit of credit. Whereas like Genesis and Dark Fate were just them trying to redo what was already done. Terminator Salvation was the next logical step for Terminator movies, which is, okay, we've done the time travel thing. They've already gone back, tried to stop it. And in the end, it's inevitable that Skynet will take over. So where do you go from here? Where you go from here is you bust out a new trilogy, which was the plan for Terminator Salvation. Mm-hmm. It was going to be a trilogy of movies. And at the very end of the third movie, it was going to have John Connor sending Kyle Reese back in time to the first movie. And it would have been a perfect 6-movie saga of showing how everything happened. You started with Terminator 1. Kyle Reese shows up, saves Sarah Connor. Terminator 2, you see them change the future, and everything seems to change and get better. Terminator 3, they find out it doesn't matter. It's inevitable, even though Terminator 3 sucks. Then you get into Salvation, and we start seeing the beginning of John Connor being the hero of the human race. And that would have evolved over 3 movies, with it ending him older, sending Kyle Reese back in time to restart the whole process. It would have been a perfect sequel trilogy to the original 3 movies. It would have made everything make sense. You wouldn't have to fucking keep coming up with like Genesis, let's redo a shit, and Dark Fate, let's redo it again. And like Terminator Salvation was such a good fucking movie. I would argue it's my second favorite Terminator movie after Terminator 2. And I know that's blasphemy for some people out there because the first one's so good. And it is. I get it. But Terminator Salvation was so fucking good and deserved to get 2 sequels and finish its story and have everything come full circle over the course of a trilogy. And I just really wish they would have stuck with it. Instead of fucking doing Genesis and Dark Fate, do sequels to Salvation, man, because it fucking deserved it.
Well, the studio that did that movie went under mismanagement. They went bankrupt. That's why they ended up canceling the whole trilogy. Because the studio just went belly up.
But then the studio that did Genesis, they could have just said, "Hey, we're just going to pick up on Salvation."
Oh, they're not going to do that. They're going to do their own thing.
I know, but if they were smart,
it's Hollywood. They got to put their own spin on shit.
Yeah.
I still remember in Salvation when they did the whole body Arnold double, like CGI body double.
Oh, that was a big thing. Like I think it would have been cool too if the fact they didn't do a heart transplant. They just put.
Yeah, if they put it like a mechanical heart, like a Terminator machinery inside.
What I'm saying is like one of the alternate ideals for the movie, instead of saving John Connor, they put John Connor's face on that Terminator.
Oh, make him a Terminator? But they did.
No.
Oh,
it's not John. Put his face on the other guy.
Yeah, make the other guy, like John dies, but they need the hero, so they preserve him through the other dude, and that other dude goes on to live as John Connor.
Okay, so you're saying put like,
which would have been a cool spin to add to the movie. Like it really would have.
It would have added to the lore why John's such a badass, because he's part Terminator. He's really a Terminator, an advanced Terminator.
So basically, you're saying Marcus and John switch faces, and that's how John.
They could have done a face-off thing.
Well, actually, that's not a bad idea. That would have been a sweet idea.
It would have explained perfectly how he could be the guy that leads to the salvation of the human race eventually.
Yeah,
it would have a spin on it. Is like the basically a Terminator is who saved the human race. That would have been a great spin. Although, again, like I said, it would, we didn't get those fucking movies, which fucking sucks. Because to this day, I can see how great it would have been. It's as bad as knowing what they could have done with Darth Plagueis and Jar Jar Binks, and George Lucas pussied out in the last fucking movie. Because there were still elements of being able to see that Jar Jar was Darth Plagueis in Attack of the Clones. You can see that it seemed like he was still going to try and do that through the second movie, and then it was in the third movie where he was like, "Nope, never mind. We're not going to follow through with that." You know what I mean?
Didn't
Argyle brought up point? Talk about bad movie. It's good. The guilty pleasure. Face Off.
No. Argyle, go fuck yourself. Face Off is one of the greatest movies of all time.
It is.
It is not bad.
It's
not a bad movie. It is not a guilty pleasure. It is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I can quote that entire movie. I refuse to believe that is a bad movie. That is just a guilty pleasure. It is a phenomenal movie. One of the greatest movies to ever exist in the history of cinema.
There is none better.
God damn it.
If anybody says again in the chat that Face Off is a bad movie, you are wrong. Just know that.
I fucking, dude, I seriously, I fucking unabashedly love that movie.
I think it's a terrible movie.
I fucking love that movie. Dude, I can quote every fucking line of dialogue in that whole fucking movie. It annoys the shit out of my wife. She does not like watching that movie with me because I will just fucking sit there and fucking quote that whole goddamn movie. And I fucking love it. Dude, it is,
it's one of the greatest
cinema gold to me personally.
It's still talked about to this day. Face Off is.
It is the greatest thing John Travolta and or Nick Cage has ever done. It is simultaneously both of their best movies.
Well, remember, Face Off is what made Nicolas Cage much more popular, was because of that film. It made him much more successful.
Well, it made him an action star.
It did, yes.
Because he did that movie and then he got Con Air, and it made him an action star. He got stuff like Gone in 60 Seconds, and like that movie, like he had been kind of a quirky star.
He did romantic comedies because
He did romantic comedies. He also did some weird, quirky movies. He was doing stuff like Raising Arizona, which was great. I fucking love Raising Arizona.
I saw that
That
last night.
movie, but that movie made him an action star
It did.
for a brief period of time, anyway. For like 5 or 6 years in the 90s.
No, I like The Rock.
The Rock is phenomenal. Yeah, but that movie came out first, but it didn't make him an action star.
Well, The Rock, I love the theory in The Rock that Sean Connery is actually playing James Bond.
Yeah, which makes perfect sense. There's a great video on YouTube that's probably got millions and millions of views now at this point. If you search "The Rock is a James Bond movie" on YouTube, that'll be the first fucking video that pops up. Watch that video. It is undeniable after you watch that video that The Rock is a James Bond movie. That is James Bond, and it's fantastic. And it becomes so obvious when you watch that video. You're like, holy shit, I think they actually did write this movie. They couldn't legally do it because of copyright, but they basically wrote that movie for him to be playing that, to be playing his version of James Bond.
It's the second time he played an unofficial James Bond.
Yeah. Well, was the first time really unofficial?
Yep, it was not considered canon in the.
Well, it's not considered canon, but he was totally James Bond because of the rights.
Oh yeah, he's James Bond. He's called James Bond, but what it was back in the gray area when people could get by with doing that. And
that was Thunderball, right? Thunderball?
Can't remember.
That was Thunderball. It's the one he did in the 80s, right before he did that movie. That movie came out like a year or something before Living Daylights came out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's a good question. Sid for Last said, wasn't John Connor Terminator and Dark Fate or whatever, or that other movie? Was it?
That was Genesis, yeah.
Genesis had both. Yes, it had It had both. John Connor was a Terminator. He was basically like a T-1000 copy again, like they did with TX in Terminator 3. And then they had Matt Smith. They had Matt Smith play Skynet.
Oh, you remember his name, but you can't remember John Conroy.
John Connor. I said John Connor.
You said John Conroy earlier instead of Sean
Actually, in
Connery.
Genesis, he was more like a replicator from Stargate.
Mm-hmm.
Humanoid replicators.
Yeah. I'll tell you what Terminator stuff media's never really talked about these days.
Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yes. I was just fixing to say.
Fantastic show that
Mhm.
ended on a cliffhanger that just pissed everybody off. That show was so damn good. I refuse to go back and watch it because I know it ends on a huge fucking cliffhanger. And then got canceled and just disappeared. Thanks, Fox, for fucking up every great show.
That's
Well, there
Fox.
was Well, remember Spider-Man on Ultimate Spider-Man, it ended on cliffhanger too.
I never watched Ultimate Spider-Man.
It was supposed to be sort of a continuation of Spider-Man the Animated Series where he goes into a other universe and they're animal humanoids. It's a
Evolutionary. He goes to the whole evolutionary world.
You're talking about
Spider-Man Unlimited.
Spider-Man Unlimited.
sorry, Ultimate Spider-Man Unlimited. I get them backwards. But that's
By the way, that is an underrated show because it was actually pretty damn good.
Yep.
It did. I mean, honestly, it didn't make much sense to be the continuation of the animated series because there was so much that didn't get resolved at the end of the animated series.
Yeah.
But just as a show on its own, it was actually pretty damn good.
Oh, I agree. It was. I agree. It was good.
You said Ultimate Spider-Man. I thought you were talking about that show that came out like in the late 2000s.
The Disney.
I never watched that anime. What was that called? Wasn't that based or early 2010s?
Ultimate Spider-Man was on Disney show. It's like a
Yeah, I never watched that one.
It was with Drake Bell, but I always get the two Unlimited and Ultimate mixed up every time with the two shows. So,
Well, one's Ultimate, one's Unlimited. They are two different words. It is our job to just
and
make
the
feel
U word starts before
everything you say,
one,
right?
and the adjective starts before and on one and after the other one.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm starting to feel bad. We just give JB shit for everything.
I know.
Everything. I'm starting to feel bad.
We got to get somebody
I mean,
new coming,
not bad
JD,
enough
so
that
you're
I'm
the
going
new
to
guy.
stop doing it, but I am starting to feel bad.
Oh, here Argyle's got a good one. Another bad movie for guilty pleasure for JB. Showgirls. I have never
seen it.
Girls.
I've never seen it.
I haven't. That's what I have not seen.
I mean, I'm aware that it exists, and I remember I was around in the 90s when that movie came out, and I have never watched it. All I've ever heard is how awful it is.
Well, if you want to see Jesse from Saved by the Bell naked, then that's the movie for you.
I mean, who doesn't? But no.
Yeah, isn't there a thing where you see once you see one woman's breast, you have to see all the rest? Like I've heard of saying, like, is that actually true?
You've seen one, you need to see the other ones and make sure it's all right, matches.
Yeah, once you've seen one set, you just want to see all the rest.
Yeah.
So, Totally the ATF says, my James Bond theory is that every actor to play Bond is a different 007 agent that takes on the Bond name because the previous Bond died or retired. And yes, I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day. That's a theory I think that's kind of floated around for a little while, and I think it makes a lot of sense. However, that theory was kind of shot to shit with Daniel Craig's James Bond because of the fact that they confirmed his real name is James Bond. Now, here's my theory and what I think would be cool. Spoiler alert for the Daniel Craig James Bond movies, so just deal with it if you haven't watched them all. I'm going to spoil some shit. But my theory is, and what I think would be cool, because we want to keep James Bond going, is that, especially because the first movie Daniel Craig was ever in was Casino Royale, which, if you know anything about James Bond, was like James Bond's first official mission as an MI6 agent. Okay? And since we see Daniel Craig be that James Bond, and then we later find out that Daniel Craig's James Bond, legitimately his real family name is Bond. We find that out in Skyfall. My theory is, since that the Daniel Craig James Bond is a reboot, and he is the first James Bond. And because of him, every other person that comes after him gets called James Bond 007 because MI6 wants to keep the myth of James Bond alive. And so Daniel Craig is the only real James Bond. Like the one who's actually he's the first one. That's my theory because, again, spoiler alert, he fucking died in the last movie. So they're going to have to replace him, right? Mm-hmm. And when they replace him, that's where we get into, like, you know, Sean Connery and you know, fucking Roger Moore and Pierce Brosnan and all these other characters and whatever else, or whoever comes next, whoever the fuck that's going to be. Because seriously, I mean, Daniel Craig was the first James Bond that they actually confirmed that is his real name. So he has to be the first one. And he also is the only James Bond we've ever seen die. So that means he's the first.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of James Bond actors, have you all seen the two Knives Out movies?
The two what?
Knives Out, like 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, those are great. I love those.
They're making a third one.
Yeah, they're making another one right now. Comes out next year. Yeah, I like those movies a lot. They're really good.
What would you think the plot? Speculating what you think the plot would be for this one? Like,
I have no fucking idea, dude. Those movies are so, like, deep and heady when it comes to mystery plots. I wouldn't even guess.
Because what they did about the murder mystery, the first one, and then they did about the glass onion sort of ordeal in the sequel.
Yeah, I don't know. Those are really good movies.
They are.
I got the first one I saw at the movies. The second one went straight to Netflix, so I just watched it, you know, at home. I think this next one's coming to Netflix too. But yeah, I think they're fun movies, man. I want to see those movies keep going on. I think they're better than the I don't know. The 3 movies that have come out for What's his face? They did Murder on the Orient Express, and they've done 3 movies with him. What is that character's name? Why am I blanking on his name? Famous literary character, Inspector. Fuck, what's his name? For Murder on the Orient Express. Somebody in the chat knows who I'm talking about. Those movies are pretty good. But I think the Knives Out movies are actually better mystery movies, personally. But yeah, man, good stuff. Good stuff. What else do we got to talk about out there, audience? Y'all got anything? Because I'm out of topics.
She's a girl. Darth, we're asking if she's a boy or girl. She's a girl. She's a Beagle Border Collie mix. She's actually seizure dog for me.
She looks so camera shy right now. She's like looking up, like trying not to look at the camera. She's like, I don't want to be on camera, motherfucker.
Well, she wanted to come in here and sit in my lap, so
she's like, this is bullshit. I did not know you were going to put me on camera. I have not prepped. You haven't given me a bath in like 3 months.
No, she's got a bath. She's just got a lot of. We've given her a bath. She's just got a lot of hair. She's getting cut next week. She's getting a haircut next week. So
now, when you drop her off to get the cut, make sure you put some pants on.
Yes, always put.
I'm not.
You need to get a tattoo on your hand that says "Put your pants on," so that you always see it. Or
but,
better yet,
well, you told me that you
it should say
road to get medical scans. It's like
better yet, you should have a tattoo that says "Keep your pants on."
Pay no attention.
But just always remember that. Keep your pants on.
When you admit you take your clothes off to get a medical scan, it's like, what else do you take them off for?
Don't listen to them. They're making fun of daddy.
Are you that dude that goes into like a public restroom and just completely pulls your pants down to your ankles when you piss at the urinal?
No.
I think you are. I feel like you are.
What? You ain't as bad as your brother now.
We give you a hard time, JB, but we don't mean that.
You ain't as bad as your brother. Now, quit sniffing around the place. I'll be back. Quit sniffing around the place. Come on.
No, there's no McFarlane on the shelf behind him, is there?
No, it's my wrestlers.
All right, I just want to make sure I didn't want you to accidentally get kicked out of the chat.
I did pick up a Muhammad Ali today.
Oh yeah.
After get out of the hospital, went over to Target and got me a check, see if they had them on sale. And they did.
Oh, that's cool.
I got a Captain Lou Albano too. It was right there with it. It's like, okay, that's awesome.
The Rubber Band Man.
All right, I'm back.
JB, do you know Captain Lou Albano?
Yes.
Okay.
I know him. Actually, they had his action figure, I think, on clearance today. I need to pick one up.
Oh, you were there again today, and you didn't call Matt to say, "Hey, you know Muhammad Ali?"
Yeah, remember he was gonna like hit us up while he was at the show today to see if there was anything we wanted.
They didn't have.
Oh yeah.
Most of the stuff at the convention we went were just a bunch of like hand paints and jewelry and T-shirts is all they had.
How do you know we wouldn't have wanted any of that stuff?
Y'all prefer toys, I know, but
you didn't ask, so how would you know?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all, you like collecting toys like me. Your toy collectors like
we don't collect toys like you. Let's be real clear.
We don't have a plastic man.
Let me rephrase that. Toys as a hobby. Is that better? Yeah. That's better? Okay.
I did pick up Icarus.
Nice.
Icarus today, and I
hope he goes on clearance. I want to buy them for several of those heads for He-Man.
I got Wolverine.
I'm more my
and I got the new Deadpool.
Nice.
With removable 50 cals.
Yep.
Actually, I've got my Deadpool right here.
So I picked those up from Quinn today.
And they finally fixed the stupid gluing in his fucking guns.
They did. They finally did.
They even glued it in the Amazon exclusive where it was like the ash colored suit. They had glued them on that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Randy
is like
I'm not joking. I walked into a Safeway bathroom and somebody seriously had their pants around their ankles. That was JB. You met JB in person. Pants around his ankles. Oh, look what Argyle said. Maxwell Smart shows up and takes the win. I fucking loved Get Smart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's he's talking about Sick for Life 3-way fight. It's like
Oh my god.
the James Bond, Mr. Bean, and Inspector Clouseau.
With Steve Carell and Dwayne Johnson.
No,
Jesus Christ!
fuck no.
I was taking to Get Smart. That movie.
Well, we're talking about the series, not the terrible
TV
movie.
show that the movie was based on, which
Okay.
obviously you've never seen or heard of.
I know there was a TV show, Get Smart, but for me, you got more specific because both of them have the same title, Get Smart.
Because it's the same thing. It's what the movie was based
The
on.
Steve Carell movie was shit.
Oh, I know it was bad. I know it is. I thought that's what y'all for a second.
But the original series is awesome.
Movies.
But the stupid thing in the movie is like his most famous thing he's fucking doing is missed it by that much. He don't do this. He just says missed it by that much, and he don't make the hand gesture.
Mm-hmm.
How can you you freaking have him say his catchphrase without part of the missed it by that much?
Mm-hmm.
It's like morons.
And I agree, Steve Carell is not a good actor. I agree. He's not. In The Office, he's great in The Office.
I like Steve Carell a lot because I love The Office.
Yeah.
So I do like Steve Carell. I don't think he's like a great actor or anything, but I love The Office. The Office was fantastic, and he was perfect for that role in The Office.
It's like back to what we said though. An actor can only do so much with a direction. So the reason why Steve Carell is not good in most movies is a direction. But yeah, y'all were talking about the show. Continue. I thought y'all was talking about the movie because I walked out of this room. So
No,
the only thing I liked about the Steve Carell Get Smart movie was their Jaime.
mm-hmm. Is that the first movie Dwayne Johnson's played a bad guy besides being an animated short?
Oh, Doom.
Doom. Doom. He was a bad guy. So,
well, his first role that I'm aware of ever was as kind of a bad guy in Voyager.
Yep, as the wrestler guy. Or
yeah,
street,
he just played an alien wrestler.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
I know, real stretch for him, but yeah.
Got his ass beat by 709.
Yeah, 709 kicked his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Although, let's be honest, you'd let 709 kick your ass.
What was that one movie he did?
Especially that era of Jerry Ryan.
Oh yeah, you'd let her kick your ass.
What was that one movie he did that was really bad? It was like
you're not narrowing it down.
A lot.
No,
Tooth Fairy movie. I don't know. What are you talking about?
It was one specific movie where
you're not really narrowing it down.
I'm trying to narrow it down. I'm going to here in a minute. It was one specific movie where two twins, two men, one was a cop, one was a criminal, and like he basically met his clone that died, and they were inside like a hot air, a blip that exploded. What was it? I'm trying to think. It was.
Are you talking about The Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, not that one. It's Dwayne Johnson movie. I'm trying to think of it.
Where there a Dwayne Johnson movie with a clone and a twin?
Yes, where it was like where he had like a clone.
Did you watch this during a fever dream?
I've never heard of this movie. I don't know what this movie is.
Now,
Somebody
there's if you remember the Jet Li movie, The One, where it's a multiverse thing where one of his alternates starts killing the other ones. He gets stronger every time he does it.
Oh, wait. No. Hold on. Argyle got it. Southland Tales.
Thank you.
Which, okay, you needed to explain that The Rock wasn't the twin.
No, he had
or the clone.
Had a clone.
You mean another character, not The Rock, in the movie had a twin or a clone, which, by the way, it wasn't a twin or a clone. He was the same guy at two different points in time.
Okay.
And by the way, that movie's fucking awesome.
Southland Tales. I'm sorry. That's what I was trying to think.
The Rock's role in that movie is fairly small.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie's great because it was done by the dude who did Donnie Darko. It's a sequel to Donnie Darko, which is also a great movie. So that was not a shitty movie. Southland Tales is a good movie. The problem with Southland Tales is it was a very, very complicated time travel story that delved into a lot of like actual time travel physics. That the guy who wrote Donnie Darko and wrote that movie, I forget his name. I'm blanking on his name. He was really, really big into like real world, like how would time travel and this type of shit work and physics and things like that. And he put all that in the movie, and it was very complicated, and it went over a lot of people's heads, and people walked out of the movie going, I didn't know what the fuck I just watched or what the hell was going on. And the point of that movie was to involve time travel and do all this crazy stuff to speak about the human condition of like war and all this shit. And so a lot of people were like, that movie sucked. Well, it's because you didn't fucking understand it is why you thought it sucked. It's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the title. And
Thank you, Argyle. Richard Kelly. Yes, Richard Kelly's the name of the director and writer of Donnie Darko and Southland Tales.
Thank you for telling us the title.
Best custom ever.
Yeah.
But wow.
Awesome.
That is the perfect He-Man.
That looks great. But no, the 6 Days is a good film. That's a pretty good film by Arnold right there. I mean, he plays the same character twice, but I mean,
I love the 6 Days. 6 Days is great.
Oh yeah.
That's a fun movie.
Now, what about the cloning Michael Keaton movie, Multiplicity? What about that?
That's fun. I mean, I haven't watched it in a long time. I remember liking it when it came out in the 90s, but
when they clone the clone.
Yeah,
when they got dumber and dumber every time. They got more defective every time they clone themselves.
Well, see, the clones
they all had a slip with his wife, even the woman.
Yeah. They look down the garage. She's like, I'm gonna get me something to eat before I die. The first clone is because he's like supposed to be his masculine side, and then the second one's supposed to be like his feminine side, and then the other one's stupid. Michael Keaton's great in that movie.
I like Michael Keaton. I've liked Michael Keaton. I think the first movie that I remember him from was either Mr. Mom or Gung Ho. Back in the day, and Michael Keaton was great in the 80s, whether it was Mr. Mom or Gung Ho or Beetlejuice or Batman or Dream Team or they had Night Shift or fucking like Michael Keaton was awesome. I love Michael Keaton.
Now, have y'all seen the movie he was in called The Founder?
Yes, I have. That's a fantastic movie, by the way.
You
know what? You know what my favorite Michael Keaton roles is, and he's just like a secondary. He's just like a secondary character in The Other Guys, where he's the police lieutenant.
Oh, he keeps quoting TLC.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
I always think of that scene where Samuel Jackson and Dwayne Johnson are on top of the building. They say, "Aim for the bushes."
Yeah,
but no bushes.
Yep. Dude, I love that movie. That's one of my favorite modern comedies. Is The Other Guys.
Holy my cousin loves that movie, and I bought it for her on digital.
God damn, I love that movie.
Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell were also great in the Daddy's Home films as well.
Those movies surprisingly are really good.
They should have made a third one. They were supposed to be.
They're like legitimately funny as shit.
We always watch.
They are a good team together.
We always watch Daddy's Home 2 every year on Christmas. Every year we watch it. It's become like a tradition because it is good. It is a good Christmas movie.
Toy Games is saying, "Did you like Birdman?" You know, I've never seen Birdman.
Birdman, you need to watch. It is.
I've heard for years how good it is. I've never watched it.
It's fantastic. It's a little close to 2 hours long, but it goes by quick. It won't feel like 2 hours.
I need to watch that one. I've never. I don't know. I missed out on it when it first came out, and I've just never gone back and watched it.
You might be able to find it on your website, but
I definitely can. Yeah,
Birdman, definitely recommend watching it. And
you can watch shows from the 1950s.
Dude, on the website. Everything you can possibly think of is on that website.
Yeah. But yes, Toy Games. I have seen Birdman. I have it on DVD, and I have watched it maybe 4 times at least 4, because it is that good.
Harvey Birdman, turn it low.
He's supposed to be like a retirement actor, like basically like, oh, what happens if an actor doesn't play the superhero role anymore? What do they do? afterwards. It's kind of remember when Robert Gier quit playing Iron Man and he all of a sudden did Dr. Dolittle and that didn't do so well.
That movie was awful.
Yeah, it's kind of like
so bad.
It's kind of that premise right there. Like, what happens to an actor when he doesn't play a certain role he's known for anymore, basically.
What's funny about that is Michael Keaton did have a little bit of that after Batman, and I never understood why, because he was such a good actor before Batman, and he wasn't like one of these actors like that wasn't known for anything other than Batman. I mean, between movies like Night Shift and Gung Ho and Beetlejuice and Mr. Mom and Dream Team, these were big, very popular movies that he starred in. I never understood why after Batman, people started treating him like he was a one-hit wonder with that character. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Have you seen all the shit that he has done? Yep. Like, it's fucking crazy. I mean, he did some phenomenal stuff long before he was ever Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And not just stuff that was like good, but like stuff that was good and everybody saw. Movies that made money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Beetlejuice.
But yeah.
There's one movie he did called The Squeeze, which is one of his lesser known movies from the 80s. If you've never seen it, fucking check it out. Michael Keaton, The Squeeze. It's a fucking great movie. But he totally is a phenomenal actor. He can do serious roles. He can do comedy roles like a motherfucker. Like Michael Keaton's great. Michael Keaton's great. Plus, he was a fucking awesome Batman.
So Toy Gaines basically summed it up. It's basically Michael Keaton's life after Batman. Basically, what it represents, Birdman.
Yeah.
So, but it is really good. Actually, he did one that recently came out. Did he not? Where he played like an assassin or something, and he starts losing his memory.
Yes, where he's getting it's not Alzheimer's. He's got another thing. That movie's really good. It's really good. I highly recommend it. I know we talked about it like a month ago because me and my wife watched it. We talked about it on the show. Really good movie. Highly recommend it.
I'm planning on us renting it this weekend, so hopefully we'll get to watch it.
Or you could just watch it for free on the website and not spend any money.
I keep forgetting about the website. I'll get the hang of it afterwards.
Jesus.
It's not like we haven't mentioned it 50 times during this stream.
I've got it on here. I've got it on another web page, so I've got it put on my notes so I remember it. So I got it.
Good Lord. Anyway. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is about time to wrap this shit show up for the evening. We are pretty much done for today.
Jared hasn't said about a movie yet. Me and Matt have been going on about movies. Jared hasn't said nothing. No,
Jared's actually doing productive, creative things.
Okay. I'll give him that.
That happens.
All right.
But anyway, no, it's time to wrap this one up for today. We will be back more Geek Chat next week. And then, of course, we've got the Toy Chat on Friday.
I have talked about movies during this stream, but somebody keeps forgetting.
Yeah, somebody thinks we're the same fucking person. So, anyway.
I know it wasn't me this time who thought y'all was the same person. So, was it somebody in the chat thought y'all was the same person?
No, we're just giving you shit about last night. That's all.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay. My wife, she actually thought y'all was the same person when I mentioned your names. She's like, "Wait, what?"
Motherfucker.
My wife does.
No goddamn respect. What the shit? Anyway. All right. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And, I don't know, go do some geeky shit. Watch some geeky shit. Watch Heroes again. It's way better than you remember. So that's it, guys. We'll see you guys later. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye, bitch.